one question that I have to ask is what radicalizes Bhagat Singh? Because this is what is interesting to me is obviously he's like 19, 20, whatever, when kind of things get a little bit hotter and he dies extremely young. Most teenagers aren't thinking about fighting like the new world order, so to speak. They're more they're more concerned with, I don't know, like finding a girlfriend or something. Like, what is it that actually radicalizes him to go, hold on, I'm not going to, like, I'm paying attention to things that are a lot bigger than just me. Especially when like, as in, he's not necessarily coming from the worst of backgrounds either. So like, what is it necessary? Like, is there one event that triggers him to go like, I've had enough? Like, a lot of people would argue it's Jallianwala Bagh that is the thing. I don't know necessarily whether the timelines match in terms of his kind of political thought and everything, but is it a progress, or is there a point where he goes, all right, I now need to focus this way?
That's a good question. So I think he was, if I remember the math correctly, he was about 12 and not an amateur when trying to, but when he tells a story of his own radicalization, his own revolutionary cultivation, Jallianwala Bagh stands at the center. It was so wildly violent and such an egregious act of massacre and maliciousness on behalf of the British Empire that, of course, right, it changed Punjab forever. And so even if you were 12 and not an Amritsar, you must have been changed by it. Again, to go back to the person who really kind of, his teacher was Lala Lajpat Rai. And I think Lala Lajpat Rai did, and it's precisely because he came from an educated background that had access to, English and French political philosophy, and that he was able to kind of absorb and synthesize and rework. It was the kind of combination. It was his education, and then his education under Lala Lajpat Rai in Lahore, which really pushed him, I think, to be a revolutionary. The moment where he becomes a revolutionary, becomes Bhagat Singh, is when Lala Lajpat Rai is beaten to death. And so part of what Bhagat Singh's mission becomes is to avenge Lala Lajpat Rai's death. I think, certainly I was at 19, right? I wasn't avenging anyone's death on behalf of an anti-colonial mission. And so we should admire someone who had that, who had the kind of clarity of the importance of the task. Even if it had some fuzzy, even if all the strings weren't tightly tied. But again, I think what's so exciting about Bhagat Singh is that although, he becomes a revolutionary in a really clear sense and a really dedicated sense. He becomes a martyr, and he knows that going on very early on. He's still a 19-year-old boy, and so he's like all of us when we were 19. He has crushes. He has like teenage boy obsessions. And so, what's exciting about Bhagat Singh is that you can be a revolutionary and still be 19. You can be a revolutionary and still have crushes on actresses. They're not opposed. You can, and so, the kind of mythologization of the revolutionary as someone who is ascetic, who gives up a kind of worldly life in favor of, pure activism. Bhagat Singh reminds us that that's not the case. You can go to the movies, you can have friends about eggs, you can have crushes on Bollywood actresses, and you can still act on behalf of a really radical anti-colonial. And that's the kind of ideal revolutionary, is someone who can do all of that at once.